There is a kind of wealth that does not make noise. It does not announce itself. It does not argue. It does not rush to prove anything to anyone. It grows quietly, almost invisibly, while the world is busy reacting to the next headline, the next trend, the next wave of excitement. And maybe that is the problem. We live in a time where attention feels more valuable than stability, where being seen feels more important than being solid, where reacting quickly is mistaken for being smart. But if you look closely at those who build lasting wealth, not just money but influence, freedom, and peace, you will notice something different. They are calm. They do not respond to every opinion. They do not chase every opportunity. They do not let every emotional spike dictate their direction. They conserve something most people waste without realizing it: energy. Your energy is your first capital. Before you can invest money, you invest focus. Before you can build income, you build discipline. Before you can create freedom, you must control your reactions. And yet, every single day, your energy is being pulled in 100 directions. Notifications, comparisons, expectations, drama, fear, pressure. It is exhausting, and when you are exhausted, you make short-term decisions. You seek quick relief. You look for shortcuts. You become reactive instead of strategic. There is a quieter philosophy that has shaped many long-standing businesses and families across generations, especially in cultures that value patience over performance and stability over spectacle. It is the belief that wealth is not built in emotional highs, but in steady accumulation, not in public declarations, but in private discipline, not in speed, but in endurance. This is not about being secretive or cold. It is about being intentional. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped reacting to everything. If you didn't feel the need to respond to every criticism, if you didn't compare your progress to someone else's highlight reel, if you didn't change direction every time something new appeared, imagine waking up with clarity instead of urgency. Most people are not failing because they lack talent. They're failing because their focus is scattered. Their goals shift with trends. Their emotions dictate their financial decisions. They spend energy proving instead of building. And slowly, without noticing, they drain the very resource they need most. The truth is simple, but uncomfortable. If you do not protect your energy, you cannot protect your future. Energy fuels discipline. Discipline builds skill. Skill generates income. Income, when managed with patience, becomes wealth. But if the foundation, your focus, your emotional control, your long-term thinking, is unstable, everything else collapses. This journey is about stepping out of the noise. It is about learning to move differently. Slower but stronger. Quieter but more powerful. Less reactive, more deliberate. It is about thinking beyond this week, beyond this month, even beyond this year, and asking yourself what kind of life you are building over the next decade. Because the loud chase attention, the calm build empires. Over the next chapters, we will explore how to think in decades instead of days, how to manage emotion so it does not manage you, how to treat your energy like capital, how to build wealth through patience, restraint, and consistency. This is not hype. It is structure. This is not about quick wins. It is about durable growth. And as you listen, I want you to reflect honestly. Where is your energy leaking? What distractions have you accepted as normal? What habits are stealing your long-term future for short-term comfort? You do not need to become someone else. You need to become more intentional with the person you already are. If something in this message resonates with you, if you feel that quiet shift inside, then do something meaningful with it. Share this video with one person you care about, someone who feels overwhelmed, distracted, or stuck chasing things that do not truly matter. Sometimes a single perspective can change the direction of a life. Now, take a breath. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The rich think in decades. Let's go deeper. If you truly want to understand why some people build lasting wealth while others stay stuck in cycles of stress and short bursts of progress, you must understand one word: horizon. Your time horizon determines your behavior. Most people operate on a short horizon. They think about this week's pressure, this month's bills, this year's visible success. Their emotional state rises and falls with short-term results. When something doesn't work quickly, they pivot. When something feels slow, they doubt. When someone else moves faster, they panic. But those who build real wealth think differently. In traditional Chinese business culture, long-term thinking was not optional. It was survival. Many family enterprises were built with the intention of lasting generations, and decisions were filtered through a simple but powerful question: will this strengthen us over time? Not, will this impress people now? That difference changes everything. When you think in decades, you stop obsessing over immediate validation. You stop chasing fast recognition. You stop reacting emotionally to temporary fluctuations. Instead, you begin asking different questions. Will this skill still be valuable in 10 years? Will this relationship compound over time? Will this investment grow steadily, even if it is boring today? Long-term thinking requires emotional maturity. It forces you to delay gratification. It forces you to tolerate slow progress. It forces you to remain consistent even when no one is applauding. And this is where most people fall apart. There's a simple story that illustrates this. So two young entrepreneurs opened similar small import businesses. Both had ambition. Both had access to the same suppliers. In the first year, one of them aggressively expanded. He borrowed heavily, rented a larger office, hired quickly, and tried to grow as fast as possible. His revenue increased sharply, and so did his stress. Every month became a race to maintain momentum. The second entrepreneur took a quieter route. He kept expenses low. He reinvested profits carefully. He focused on building trust with a small group of reliable partners. His growth looked slower from the outside, less exciting, less dramatic. After 5 years, the first business had impressive spikes, but also heavy debt and unstable cash flow. The second had stable margins, strong relationships, and consistent reserves. After 10 years, and only one of them had true freedom. The difference was not intelligence, it was horizon. Short-term thinking feels exciting. Long-term thinking feels boring at first. But boredom is often a sign of stability, and stability is a foundation for wealth. When you stretch your horizon, your daily behavior changes. You stop switching goals every few months. You choose one direction and refine it. You understand that mastery requires repetition. You realize that compounding only works when you stop interrupting it. Compounding is quiet. It does not scream. It does not demand attention. It simply rewards consistency over time. This principle applies to investing. If you constantly react to market headlines, fear and excitement will control your money. You will buy when prices are high because everyone is optimistic. You will sell when prices are low because everyone is afraid. Emotion destroys compounding. But when your horizon is 10, 20, or 30 years, volatility becomes noise. You're not investing for next quarter. You're investing for future decades. It also applies to skills. If you spend 3 months learning something and quit because you're not exceptional yet, you reset the clock every time. But if you commit to developing one valuable skill for 10 years, your level of competence becomes rare. Rare competence attracts opportunity. Opportunity attracts income. Long-term thinking removes desperation. When you are desperate for quick results, you accept bad deals. You tolerate toxic relationships. You make impulsive purchases to signal status. You overextend to appear successful. But when you think in decades, you're less tempted by short-term illusions. You do not need to look rich this year. You need to become stable over time. There is another powerful shift that happens when you think long-term. Your emotional reactions slow down. A bad week does not define you. A slow quarter does not break you. A temporary setback becomes data, not identity. You understand that growth is uneven, that seasons change, that markets fluctuate, that progress sometimes hides beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Imagine planting a tree. In the first year, you see almost nothing. In the second, still very little. But beneath the soil, roots are expanding. Strength is forming. If you dig it up every few months to check progress, you destroy it. Many people treat their careers and finances the same way. They constantly uproot their efforts to chase something that looks faster. Wealth rewards patience more than speed. This does not mean you move slowly without intention. It means you move steadily with clarity. Long-term thinking also changes how you measure success. Instead of asking, "Did I win today?" you ask, "Am I building something that will last?" Instead of comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you focus on your own trajectory. When your horizon expands, comparison loses power. You begin to see that the loudest people are often playing a short game. Attention fades. Trends expire, but structure endures. So here is the practical shift. Create a 10-year vision. Not a vague dream, but a structured direction. What skills will you master? What financial position will you reach? What kind of reputation will you build? Then reverse engineer it. What must you do this year to support that decade? What must you do this month to support this year? What must you do today to support this month? Suddenly, your daily actions are aligned with long-term identity. And alignment creates calm because you are no longer chasing every opportunity. You are filtering opportunities based on fit. You are no longer reacting to every trend. You are evaluating trends based on sustainability. The rich think in decades, not because they are slow, but because they understand something most people ignore. Time is the ultimate multiplier. If you respect it, it compounds for you. If you fight it, it works against you. Stretch your horizon, let urgency shrink, let patience grow, and watch how your decisions begin to change. Chapter 2. Silence is strategic power. There is a difference between being quiet because you are afraid and being quiet because you are strategic. One comes from insecurity, the other comes from strength. In many traditional Chinese business circles, there is a principle called didiao, maintaining a low profile. It does not mean lacking ambition. It does not mean shrinking yourself. It means moving carefully, revealing selectively, and letting results speak louder than intention. Most people misunderstand power. They think power is loud. They think influence is about constant visibility. They think success requires constant explanation. But if you observe those who build lasting wealth, you will notice something interesting. They rarely rush to announce their plans. Why? Because speaking too early creates pressure. And pressure invites interference. When you declare every goal publicly, you expose your strategy before it is strong enough to withstand criticism. You invite opinions from people who do not carry the consequences of your decisions. You dilute focus by managing perception instead of managing execution. Silence protects execution. There is a small story about a property investor who began buying land quietly in an underdeveloped district. He did not talk about it. He did not post about it. He did not try to convince others it was a brilliant move. For years, his acquisitions seemed insignificant. Meanwhile, others were loudly promoting short-term opportunities, flipping properties quickly, boasting about rapid gains. They attracted attention. They attracted envy. They also attracted competition. When the district eventually developed, the quiet investor already controlled large portions of it. His patience had allowed him to accumulate without driving up prices prematurely. His silence was not weakness. It was strategy. Speaking less keeps your costs lower. When you broadcast ambition too early, you trigger competition. When you reveal plans prematurely, you invite doubt. When you argue publicly, you spend energy defending ideas instead of building them. Silence gives you space to grow. This applies beyond business. If you are constantly explaining yourself, constantly justifying your choices, constantly reacting to what others think, your energy is fragmented. You are performing instead of progressing. Strategic silence is not about secrecy. It is about timing. You do not reveal the blueprint while the foundation is still fragile. Yet you do not expose your vision to people who cannot see beyond their own limitations. You do not argue with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You conserve strength. There is another layer to this: emotional silence. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves defense. Not every misunderstanding requires clarification. When you respond to everything, you lose position. In traditional negotiation culture, maintaining composure was crucial. If you reacted emotionally, you revealed leverage. If you became impatient, you weakened your stance. The person who stayed calm held advantage. Silence in negotiation creates uncertainty, and uncertainty shifts power. The same principle applies in everyday life. When someone attempts to provoke you and you remain composed, you retain control. When someone tries to rush your decision and you pause, you maintain leverage. The loud person often seeks validation. The calm person often seeks results. Silence also sharpens thinking. When you speak less, you observe more. You notice patterns. You detect inconsistencies. You listen to what others reveal unintentionally. Many opportunities are not created by talking, but by watching carefully. In wealth building, information is valuable. Listening increases information. Talking too much reduces it. There is a subtle strength in being underestimated. When people think you are doing less than you are, you move with less resistance. When you appear steady rather than flashy, you avoid unnecessary scrutiny. When you stay focused instead of seeking applause, you compound quietly. Consider how many times people sabotage themselves by announcing plans too early. They receive temporary praise, a small dopamine reward, and unconsciously reduce effort because they feel progress socially validated. Silence protects discipline. You do not confuse applause with achievement. You do not substitute talk for execution. You build privately. This does not mean you isolate yourself. It means you are selective. Selective with information. Selective with reactions. Selective with exposure. The strategic individual understands that attention is not always an asset. Sometimes it is a liability. Attention attracts pressure. Attention attracts comparison. Attention attracts distraction. Wealth grows best when shielded from unnecessary interference. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your stress comes from managing perception rather than building value? How often do you speak about plans instead of advancing them? How much energy do you spend reacting to comments that will not matter in 5 years? Strategic silence simplifies life. It allows you to focus on what compounds: skill, capital, reputation, trust. It reduces emotional volatility. It strengthens your negotiating position. It increases internal clarity. You begin to realize that you do not need to win every argument. You do not need to correct every misconception. You do not need to broadcast every milestone. You need progress, and progress does not require noise. There is a reason why many enduring enterprises operate quietly for years before expanding aggressively. They build infrastructure first. They refine systems privately. They test weaknesses without public pressure. Then, when the moment is right, growth appears sudden. But it was prepared silently. Silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. When you choose silence strategically, you choose strength over impulse. You choose timing over reaction. You choose leverage over ego. In a world addicted to constant expression, restraint becomes rare, and rarity increases value. Remember this: the loud may gain attention, but the quiet often gain advantage. And advantage, sustained over time, becomes wealth. Chapter 3. Control. Emotion. Control money. If long-term thinking gives you direction and silence gives you leverage, then emotional control gives you stability, and without stability, wealth cannot last. There is a simple truth many people avoid. Most financial mistakes are emotional mistakes. People rarely lose money because they cannot calculate. They lose money because they cannot regulate. They panic. They rush. They chase. They react. In traditional Chinese trading philosophy, patience and emotional restraint were considered forms of capital. A merchant who could not control his temper would eventually damage relationships. An investor who could not control fear would eventually sell at the worst time. Emotional discipline was not just a personality trait. It was a survival skill. Think about how often money decisions are tied to emotion. You feel behind, so you invest impulsively in something trending. You feel insecure, so you spend to impress. You feel excited, so you overcommit. You feel afraid, so you withdraw too soon. Emotion distorts judgment, and distorted judgment destroys compounding. There is a small but powerful rule practiced by many disciplined investors: never make a significant financial decision in a heightened emotional state. If you are angry, wait. If you are overly excited, wait. If you feel pressured, wait. Time neutralizes emotional spikes, and neutral emotion produces clearer judgment. Consider a young professional who received a bonus after a strong year. Excited and confident, he immediately upgraded his apartment, bought a luxury car, and increased his lifestyle expenses. And in that emotional high, the future felt guaranteed. 2 years later, his income fluctuated. Fixed expenses remained high. Stress increased. What looked like confidence was actually emotional spending. Contrast that with someone who receives the same bonus but pauses. Instead of upgrading lifestyle immediately, they allocate most of it toward investments and reserves. They increase freedom, not pressure. Years later, they have optionality. The difference is not income, it is regulation. In many Chinese family businesses, elders often emphasized a principle: do not let temporary success inflate your behavior. Humility preserves stability. Stability preserves wealth. Emotional discipline is not suppression, it is awareness. It means noticing when your ego is driving a decision. It means recognizing when fear is influencing action. And it means understanding that markets, careers, and businesses move in cycles. And your emotions will try to exaggerate each phase. When prices rise quickly, greed whispers, "It will never stop." When prices fall sharply, fear whispers, "It will never recover." Both are illusions. The disciplined mind sees cycles without absorbing them. This also applies to earning, not just investing. When you are emotionally reactive, you struggle to negotiate effectively. You either undervalue yourself out of fear or overplay your hand out of pride. Calm negotiation produces better outcomes than aggressive desperation. Emotional stability creates bargaining power. Another dimension of emotional control is comparison. Comparison is emotional noise disguised as motivation. You see someone else's visible success and feel urgency. You question your pace. You doubt your strategy. You consider pivoting prematurely. But remember what we discussed earlier. Long-term thinking requires patience. When you allow comparison to hijack your direction, you abandon your horizon. The wealthiest individuals often move at a pace that looks slow from the outside. They ignore short-term comparisons because they are building on a different timeline. Emotional control also protects relationships, and relationships are economic assets. If you overreact in business conflicts, you burn bridges. If you lash out under stress, you damage trust. Trust, once broken, is expensive to repair. Many generational businesses survive not because they avoid conflict, but because they manage it calmly. They separate emotion from strategy. Imagine two partners facing a financial setback. One reacts emotionally, assigning blame, escalating tension, threatening separation. The other pauses, focuses on solutions, controls tone, and prioritizes preservation. Which partnership survives? Wealth requires endurance. Endurance requires emotional steadiness. There is another practical technique that strengthens emotional discipline: structured delay. Before making a large purchase, wait 24 hours. Before responding to a provocative message, wait 1 hour. Before changing a long-term plan, wait 1 week. Delay filters impulse. Impulse seeks relief. Discipline seeks alignment. The more you practice structured delay, the stronger your internal control becomes. Over time, emotional spikes lose dominance. You begin to operate from principle rather than feeling. And this is powerful, because when you control emotion, you reduce volatility in your financial life. You make fewer extreme decisions. You maintain consistency. You preserve capital, both financial and psychological. Calm people compound better, not because they are smarter, but because they interrupt compounding less. There is a quiet strength in being steady while others oscillate, in staying measured while others panic, in staying disciplined while others celebrate prematurely. Emotion will always exist. The goal is not to eliminate it. The goal is to prevent it from steering. When you master this, something changes internally. You feel less rushed, less reactive, less threatened by fluctuations, and that inner calm translates into outer stability. Control emotion, control money. Control money, control freedom. Chapter 4. Protect your energy. Like capital, or if emotion determines the quality of your decisions, then energy determines your capacity to execute them. Most people think of capital only as money, but money is stored energy. And if your daily energy is constantly drained, your financial capital will eventually reflect that. In many traditional Chinese business families, preserving capital was sacred. They avoided unnecessary risk. They controlled expenses carefully. They maintained reserves. They did not expose all resources at once. Now think about how casually most people spend their energy. They argue online. They overcommit socially. They absorb negative conversations. They scroll endlessly. They say yes when they should say no. Every interaction costs attention. Every distraction fragments focus. And every unnecessary conflict reduces clarity. And clarity is what creates intelligent decisions. Energy is not just physical. It is mental and emotional. Mental energy fuels strategic thinking. Emotional energy fuels resilience. Physical energy fuels productivity. When these are depleted, you default to convenience. You choose easy over valuable. You react instead of design. Imagine an entrepreneur who begins every morning by consuming chaotic news, comparing themselves to competitors, and checking messages immediately. By 10 a.m., their attention is scattered. Small issues feel large. Decisions feel urgent. Stress accumulates. Now imagine another entrepreneur who protects the first hour of the day. No phone, no headlines, no reaction. Instead, they review priorities. Think long-term. Act deliberately. Both have the same 24 hours. And only one protects capital. Protecting energy means creating boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish. They are strategic. If you allow everyone access to your time, your priorities disappear. If you say yes to every request, your own goals are delayed. If you tolerate constant interruption, deep work becomes impossible. In wealth building, focus is a multiplier. When you focus on one meaningful task for 2 uninterrupted hours, the output can exceed 8 distracted hours. Energy concentrated produces results disproportionate to time spent. But concentration requires protection. This is why many disciplined individuals schedule blocks where they are unreachable. They reduce notifications. They limit meetings. They design environments that support focus rather than fight it. They treat attention like money. As would you give random strangers access to your bank account? Of course not. Yet many people give random opinions access to their emotions daily. Emotional energy leaks are subtle but powerful. A negative comment stays in your mind for hours. A minor conflict replays repeatedly. A comparison on social media shifts your mood. These small leaks accumulate. Over weeks and months, they erode confidence and productivity. Protecting energy also means choosing environments wisely. If you surround yourself with constant pessimism, your thinking shrinks. If you surround yourself with drama, your nervous system remains activated. If you surround yourself with distraction, your ambition weakens. Environment shapes energy. Energy shapes output. There's another important aspect: physical restoration. You cannot think clearly if you are chronically exhausted. Sleep is not laziness, it is strategic maintenance. Exercise is not vanity, it is resilience training. Nutrition is not indulgence, it is cognitive support. Long-term wealth requires a functioning mind and body. Burnout destroys consistency, and consistency is the engine of compounding. Many people underestimate the cost of burnout. They push aggressively for short bursts. They sacrifice health for speed. They neglect recovery. Then they collapse, losing months of progress. Steady energy outperforms explosive bursts. Protecting energy also involves emotional detachment from unnecessary conflict. Not every debate deserves your voice. Not every disagreement requires correction. Sometimes the most powerful response is none at all. When you disengage from low-value conflict, and you can serve clarity for high-value creation. Ask yourself honestly, where is your energy leaking daily? Which conversations drain you without building anything? Which habits consume attention without producing growth? If you tracked your energy the way investors track expenses, what would you cut? In business, disciplined operators conduct audits regularly. They review costs, eliminate waste, reallocate resources to productive areas. Do the same with your energy. Reduce exposure to environments that trigger emotional spikes. Limit interactions that consistently leave you depleted. Structure your day around deep work instead of constant reaction. When you protect energy like capital, something shifts internally. You feel less scattered, less reactive, less exhausted. Your thinking sharpens, your decisions stabilize, your execution improves. Energy is not infinite, but when managed wisely, it compounds. And compounded energy, directed toward meaningful work, becomes wealth over time. Guard it carefully, because the future you are building depends on the strength you preserve today. Chapter 5. Wealth is built in hidden discipline. If energy is capital, then discipline is the system that multiplies it. Most people want visible success. They want recognition, rapid growth, impressive milestones, but they underestimate the invisible process that produces those outcomes. In many traditional Chinese business families, there was an emphasis on jilei, accumulation, not dramatic expansion, not reckless scaling. Accumulation, small consistent gains layered over time. This principle is simple but uncomfortable. Wealth is built in habits no one sees. It is built in the decision not to upgrade lifestyle too early. It is built in the choice to reinvest instead of celebrate. It is built in showing up consistently when motivation fades. Hidden discipline does not attract applause, and that is why so few people practice it long enough. There is a story of a shop owner who operated in a modest location for years. While competitors renovated frequently, expanded rapidly, and invested heavily in appearance, he focused on margins. He tracked costs meticulously. He negotiated patiently with suppliers. He reinvested profit quietly. From the outside, his business looked ordinary. No flashy expansion, no dramatic changes. But 10 years later, he owned the building. His competitors were still paying rent. Hidden discipline compounds invisibly. The problem with modern culture is that it glorifies visible growth and ignores structural stability. Social media shows revenue milestones, luxury purchases, expansion announcements. It rarely shows cost control, cash reserves, quiet reinvestment. But structure sustains growth. Discipline begins with personal finance. Living below your means is not about deprivation. It is about leverage. Every dollar not spent impulsively becomes capital. Capital creates options. Options create freedom. When income increases, many people immediately increase expenses. They adjust lifestyle upward to match earnings. The gap between income and spending remains small. Disciplined individuals widen that gap. They maintain modest living standards even as income grows. They convert surplus into investments. They delay visible upgrades. They strengthen foundation first. This is not glamorous, but it is powerful. Hidden discipline also appears in daily work habits. You do not skip effort because no one is watching. You do not cut corners because results are private. You do not rely on motivation. You rely on structure. Structure removes emotional dependency. When you depend on feeling inspired, your output fluctuates. When you depend on schedule and system, your output stabilizes. Stability leads to trust. Trust leads to opportunity. Opportunity leads to growth. There is also discipline in restraint. Restraint in consumption. Restraint in speech. Restraint in risk. Not every opportunity deserves your capital. Not every trend deserves participation. Disciplined individuals evaluate risk with patience, not excitement. In long-standing merchant culture, risk was calculated carefully. Aggressive expansion without reserves was considered dangerous. Growth was pursued, but only when foundation was secure. Many modern failures stem from skipping foundation. Hidden discipline means preparing quietly before acting publicly. Before launching, you test privately. Before expanding, you strengthen cash flow. Before scaling, you refine systems. When growth finally becomes visible, it appears sudden, but it was built in obscurity. Another dimension of hidden discipline is repetition. Repetition feels boring. It lacks novelty. But mastery is repetition refined over time. A craftsman repeating the same motion for years becomes exceptional. A professional refining one skill for a decade becomes rare. Rare skill commands premium compensation. Those who constantly switch directions rarely reach depth. Depth creates defensibility, and defensibility protects wealth. Hidden discipline also strengthens character. You become less dependent on praise. You become less tempted by shortcuts. You become more patient with process. This internal shift is crucial because when wealth eventually grows, your habits determine whether it remains or disappears. Many individuals achieve sudden financial gain and lose it quickly. Why? Because their internal discipline never matched their external success. Without discipline, growth amplifies weakness. With discipline, growth amplifies stability. So ask yourself, what are you practicing daily that no one sees? Are your habits aligned with long-term strength? Are you widening the gap between earning and spending? Are you building systems that function without constant emotion? Hidden discipline feels quiet. It feels unnoticed. But it is the silent engine behind lasting wealth. While others chase excitement, You build structure. While others seek validation, you refine process. While others display results, you strengthen foundation. And over time, the gap widens. Because wealth is rarely built in moments of applause. It is built in rooms where no one is watching, through consistency, restraint, and patience repeated thousands of times. Stay steady, stay disciplined. Let your structure grow stronger than your need for attention. The visible rewards will follow. Chapter 6. Reputation is a form of wealth. There is a form of wealth that does not appear on a balance sheet, but determines whether money flows toward you or away from you. That wealth is reputation. In traditional Chinese commerce, reputation was everything. A merchant's name carried more weight than a contract. A broken promise could close doors for years. A reputation for fairness, reliability, and restraint could open opportunities across generations. Money can be earned quickly. Trust cannot, and trust compounds just like capital. When people believe your word, negotiations move faster. When partners trust your discipline, they offer better terms. When clients know you deliver consistently, they return without hesitation. Reputation reduces friction. Friction is expensive. It delays deals. It increases doubt. It creates stress. A strong reputation lowers friction in every interaction, but reputation is built slowly, through repeated, disciplined behavior. You build it when you meet deadlines, even when inconvenient. You build it when you honor small commitments, not just large ones. You build it when you stay calm under pressure, instead of blaming others. Every action becomes data. People observe how you behave when things go wrong. Anyone can appear competent when conditions are favorable, but true character reveals itself in setbacks. In many long-standing family businesses, elders would emphasize one principle repeatedly: protect the name. Not because pride was the goal, but because the name was an asset. Once damaged, recovery was costly. Modern culture often undervalues this. People chase rapid growth, quick profit, and viral attention. In that pursuit, they sometimes sacrifice reliability. They overpromise to secure short-term gain. They exaggerate results to appear impressive. They cut corners to accelerate. Short-term benefit, long-term damage. Reputation is fragile because it is built on perception of consistency. One act of dishonesty can overshadow years of integrity. This does not mean perfection. It means accountability. If you make a mistake, you correct it quickly. If you fall short, you communicate transparently. If you miscalculate, you adjust responsibly. Accountability strengthens reputation. There is a simple but powerful scenario. Two contractors bid for a project. One offers a lower price but has inconsistent feedback and a record of missed deadlines. The other charges slightly more but has a reputation for reliability and calm problem-solving. Which one gets repeat business? In many cases, stability wins. Reputation allows you to charge a premium. It creates negotiation leverage. It protects you in downturns. During economic stress, people retreat toward trust. They choose partners who have proven discipline. They reduce risk by working with those who have demonstrated reliability over time. This is where long-term thinking connects directly to reputation. If you think in decades, you behave differently in conflict. You do not burn bridges impulsively. You do not escalate unnecessarily. You preserve relationships that may become valuable later. Relationships are economic multipliers. A single strong connection can introduce you to opportunities that years of isolated effort cannot. But relationships require maintenance, and maintenance requires emotional maturity. To control your tone, control your reactions, control your promises, consistency builds credibility. There is another subtle dimension of reputation: predictability. When others can predict your behavior, your calmness, your work ethic, your fairness, They feel safe engaging with you. Predictability reduces uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty encourages collaboration. Unpredictable individuals create hesitation. Hesitation slows growth. You want to become someone others trust with responsibility. Trust is capital. It cannot be purchased. It must be earned. Ask yourself honestly, if someone described you in a professional setting, what would they say? Disciplined, reliable, calm, or reactive? Inconsistent, impulsive? Reputation is built in daily micro-decisions. Arriving on time, responding respectfully, following through, maintaining composure under stress. These behaviors may seem small, but over years they compound into identity. And identity shapes opportunity. When your reputation aligns with discipline and steadiness, doors open quietly. You do not need to chase aggressively. Opportunities gravitate toward reliability. This is why protecting energy matters. When you are emotionally drained, you behave inconsistently. When you are reactive, you damage relationships. When you are impatient, you risk your name. Energy supports discipline. Discipline supports reputation. Reputation supports wealth. In uncertain markets, reputation becomes even more valuable. People become cautious. They prefer security over novelty. They prefer history over hype. The loud may gain attention temporarily, but the steady earn trust permanently. And trust, sustained over decades, becomes a form of wealth that cannot be easily replicated. Protect your name. Protect your consistency. Protect the invisible asset that determines how the world engages with you. Because when your reputation is strong, growth becomes easier, and when your reputation is weak, growth becomes fragile. Build it carefully. Guard it patiently. Let it compound alongside your capital. There is another layer to reputation that many people overlook: self-respect. The way you see yourself quietly influences how others see you. So when you consistently keep your own promises, even the small private ones, your internal confidence strengthens. That confidence affects how you speak, how you negotiate, how you make decisions. You move with less hesitation. You require less validation. Self-respect is the foundation of external respect. If you constantly abandon your own standards, break commitments to yourself, or compromise your principles for short-term convenience, something shifts internally. Doubt increases, insecurity rises, and insecurity leaks into behavior. But when you live in alignment with your values, when your words and actions match, you develop quiet authority. Quiet authority is powerful. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to dominate conversations. You do not need to advertise competence. Your consistency speaks. Reputation also influences access. Access to capital, access to partnerships, access to mentorship. Investors fund people they trust. Partners collaborate with people who are predictable. Mentors guide those who demonstrate discipline. If your behavior signals volatility, you limit your own access, and access determines speed. In many business cultures influenced by long-term thinking, relationships are nurtured patiently before significant transactions occur. Trust precedes scale. Credibility precedes expansion. If you rush this sequence, growth becomes unstable. Another important truth: reputation protects you during mistakes. Everyone makes errors, markets shift, projects fail, deals collapse. But if you have built years of credibility, others are more likely to extend grace. They see your track record and understand that a setback does not define you. Without a strong reputation, one mistake can become a label. With a strong reputation, one mistake becomes a lesson. This is why short-term shortcuts are so dangerous. A quick gain achieved through questionable behavior may look profitable in the moment, but the long-term cost to trust can exceed the initial benefit. When you evaluate decisions, do not ask only, "Will this make money?" Ask also, will this strengthen or weaken my name? Wealth that damages reputation is fragile. Wealth built on credibility is resilient. In the end, your reputation becomes a silent introduction that enters rooms before you do. It shapes how people respond to your proposals. It influences how they interpret your silence. It determines whether they see you as stable or risky. Now build it slowly, protect it fiercely. Let your character compound just as patiently as your capital. Because over decades, the strongest fortunes are supported not only by assets, but by trust. Chapter 7. Patience beats talent. There is a quiet advantage that often goes unnoticed in a world obsessed with speed. It is not intelligence, it is not connections, it is not even capital. It is patience. In many traditional business cultures influenced by long-term philosophy, patience was considered a competitive edge. Not passive waiting, but disciplined endurance. The ability to stay committed when progress appears slow. The ability to remain steady when others grow restless. Talent may give you a head start. Patience determines whether you finish. Look around at most industries today. You will see cycles of excitement. New trends rise rapidly. New platforms promise instant growth. New strategies appear revolutionary. Many talented individuals jump in early, ride momentum briefly, then move on when results plateau. But movement feels like progress. But constant movement often prevents compounding. Patience allows compounding to work uninterrupted. Imagine two investors again. One constantly switches strategies based on short-term market movements. The other selects a disciplined plan and holds through volatility. Over 10 years, the second investor often outperforms. Not because of superior intelligence, but because of uninterrupted exposure to growth. Interruptions are expensive. Every time you restart, you lose momentum. Every time you abandon a skill halfway, you reset depth. Every time you pivot out of discomfort, you weaken resilience. Patience trains resilience. There is a powerful example from a craftsman who dedicated decades to mastering a single technique. In the early years, his work was average. After 5 years, it improved. After 10, it became refined. After 20, it became exceptional. His mastery was not built on bursts of inspiration. It was built on repetition under boredom. Most people never reach that stage because they leave during the boring phase. The boring phase is where depth is built. In wealth building, the boring phase is saving consistently. It is investing regularly without drama. It is improving skills daily without applause. It is maintaining discipline without visible transformation. And this is where impatience sabotages progress. Impatience whispers, you should be further by now. It whispers, others are ahead. It whispers, maybe this isn't working. But long-term wealth rarely produces dramatic signals early. There is another story of a small trading firm that operated quietly for years. Competitors expanded rapidly during boom periods, and they hired aggressively. They celebrated growth publicly. When the market slowed, many of them collapsed under pressure. The smaller firm survived because it had built reserves patiently. It had avoided overexpansion. It had chosen sustainability over speed. Patience protects during downturns. This is critical. Anyone can look successful in favorable conditions, but only those with disciplined patience survive cycles. Talent without patience creates volatility. Patience without talent creates gradual growth. Talent combined with patience creates dominance. In many traditional philosophies, patience is linked to internal calm. You're not rushing because you are secure in direction. You're not panicking because you understand cycles. You're not comparing because your horizon extends beyond temporary fluctuations. Patience also changes how you evaluate effort. Instead of asking, is this working immediately? You ask, is this aligned long-term? Alignment matters more than speed. If a habit improves you slightly each day, it may seem insignificant. But over years, the transformation is dramatic. Small, consistent improvement compounds. 1% daily improvement may look trivial, but compounded across years, it reshapes skill, confidence, and earning potential. Patience allows these small increments to accumulate. There is a psychological advantage here too. When you expect results slowly, you reduce frustration. When you measure progress quarterly instead of daily, you maintain emotional stability. Emotional stability supports better decisions. Patience also enhances negotiation. When you are not desperate, you can walk away from bad terms. And when you are not rushed, you can evaluate risk properly. When you are not chasing immediate results, you maintain leverage. Desperation weakens position. Patience strengthens it. Ask yourself honestly, where have you abandoned something too soon? Which skill did you quit because progress felt slow? Which investment did you exit because volatility scared you? Sometimes the problem is not strategy, it is impatience. Of course, patience is not stubbornness. You must adjust when evidence demands it. But adjustment based on data is different from reaction based on emotion. Patient individuals observe patterns before acting. They test quietly, they endure discomfort, they allow processes to mature. In many ways, patience is delayed gratification applied consistently. You delay the urge to upgrade lifestyle. You delay the urge to switch direction. You delay the urge to prove yourself prematurely. And in doing so, you strengthen foundation. There is something deeply empowering about realizing you do not need to win quickly. You need to endure wisely. The market rewards endurance. Skills reward repetition. Relationships reward consistency. Time favors those who remain. If you extend your horizon long enough, many competitors eliminate themselves through impatience. They burn out, they pivot endlessly, they overspend, they overreact. You remain steady, and steadiness becomes advantage. Patience is not passive, and it is active restraint. It is choosing long-term gain over short-term relief. It is trusting structure over emotion. It is believing that slow growth, when sustained, becomes unstoppable. In the end, patience may not look impressive in the moment, but over decades it outperforms raw talent, short bursts of intensity, and emotional decision-making. Stretch your horizon. Stay consistent. Let time become your ally. Because in the quiet accumulation of effort, patience quietly builds power. Chapter 8. Become calm, become powerful. At the end of all these principles, long-term thinking, strategic silence, emotional discipline, protected energy, hidden consistency, reputation, and patience, they converge into one state. Calm. Not passive calm, not indifferent calm, powerful calm. There is a reason why many respected leaders in long-standing business cultures are not loud. They do not rush decisions. They do not show panic in downturns. They do not celebrate excessively in upswings. Their stability becomes the anchor for everyone around them. Calm is authority. When you remain steady under pressure, people trust you. When you do not overreact to volatility, others feel safe following your direction. When you do not chase attention, your presence gains weight. In negotiation, the calmest person often holds the strongest position. If you appear anxious, you reveal need. If you appear desperate, you lose leverage. But if you are composed, measured, and willing to walk away, power shifts toward you. Calm reduces vulnerability. In many traditional philosophies, emotional restraint was associated with strength because it prevented others from reading your weaknesses easily. When your reactions are predictable and controlled, you are difficult to manipulate. Think about how often people are manipulated through urgency. Limited time opportunity. Everyone is buying. You'll miss out. Urgency triggers emotion. Emotion clouds judgment. Clouded judgment leads to poor decisions. Calm neutralizes urgency. When you are calm, you evaluate instead of react. You ask questions instead of rushing. You analyze risk instead of absorbing excitement. Calm is clarity under pressure. There is a story of a business owner facing sudden market collapse. Competitors immediately slashed prices in panic, damaging their margins. Employees became fearful. Customers became uncertain. He did something different. He paused. Instead of reacting publicly, he reviewed cash flow quietly. He reduced non-essential expenses. He reassured his team with steady communication. He avoided dramatic announcements. Because he remained calm, others stabilized. When markets recovered, his business was intact. Many competitors had exhausted reserves in emotional reactions. Calm preserved capital. Calm preserved reputation. Calm preserved trust. Powerful calm also influences personal life. When your emotions do not spike dramatically, your relationships improve. When you do not carry work stress into conversations, your family environment strengthens. When you are not constantly distracted by noise, you become present. Presence builds depth. Depth builds influence. Another dimension of calm is internal security. If your identity is not tied to constant validation, you are less shaken by criticism. If your goals are long-term, you are less distracted by temporary setbacks. If your discipline is consistent, you are less dependent on motivation. Internal security creates external stability, and stability attracts opportunity. People prefer working with individuals who are emotionally grounded. They trust them with responsibility. They rely on them during uncertainty. Calm becomes a competitive advantage. There is also a financial benefit to calmness. When markets fluctuate, calm investors maintain strategy. When income fluctuates, calm professionals maintain discipline. When opportunities arise, calm decision-makers evaluate carefully instead of impulsively. Impulsive action often creates regret. Calm action often creates sustainability. To become calm, you must reduce unnecessary stimulation, reduce exposure to constant outrage, reduce consumption of fear-driven content, reduce comparison triggers, create mental space. Mental space allows perspective. Perspective allows rational decision-making. Rational decision-making builds wealth. Calm also requires physical discipline, regular sleep, consistent exercise, structured routines. When your body is stable, your mind follows. Another important shift: accept uncertainty. You cannot control markets completely. You cannot control economic cycles. You cannot control other people's opinions, but you can control response, and response determines trajectory. When you accept uncertainty, you stop fighting reality. Instead, you prepare for variability. You build reserves. You diversify income. You maintain flexibility. Flexibility plus calm equals resilience. Resilience is wealth protection. Ask yourself, how often do you let small issues disturb your entire day? How often do external opinions alter your direction? How often do short-term fluctuations change long-term plans? Each overreaction weakens structure. Each moment of restraint strengthens it. Becoming calm is not a one-time achievement. It is daily practice. Pause before responding. Breathe before deciding. Think before committing. Small acts of restraint accumulate into identity. Over time, others begin to see you differently. You become the stable one, the reliable one, the composed one. And with that perception comes influence. Influence leads to opportunity. Opportunity, handled with discipline, becomes wealth. At its core, power is not dominance. It is control. Control over reaction, control over spending, control over time horizon, control over exposure. When you master control, you master direction. The loud chase attention, the reactive chase validation, the impatient chase speed. But the calm build quietly. They think in decades, they speak selectively. They protect energy, they accumulate patiently, they preserve reputation. And because of that, they endure. Become calm, and you become difficult to destabilize. Become difficult to destabilize. And you become powerful. Because in the long game of wealth in life, stability wins. Not noise, not urgency, not spectacle. Stability. Take a moment. Breathe slowly. And look back at everything we've walked through together. Long-term thinking, strategic silence, emotional discipline, energy protection, hidden consistency, reputation, patience, calm power. None of these principles are loud. None of them promise overnight transformation. None of them depend on hype, and that is exactly why they work. In a world that constantly pushes urgency, this philosophy asks you to slow down. In a culture that rewards visibility, it teaches you to build quietly. In an economy driven by emotion, it calls you to remain steady. This is not about becoming cold. It is not about isolating yourself. It is about becoming intentional. Intentional with your time, intentional with your money, intentional with your reactions, intentional with your direction. When you think in decades, you stop chasing weeks. When you protect your energy, you stop leaking potential. When you control your emotions, you stop sabotaging your own compounding. When you build discipline privately, you stop depending on applause publicly, and something powerful begins to happen. You feel less rushed, less reactive, less threatened by other people's success. You stop measuring your life against someone else's timeline. You start focusing on structure instead of spectacle. Real wealth is not loud, it is stable. It grows in habits repeated daily. It grows in decisions made calmly. It grows in restraint practiced consistently. It grows in reputation protected patiently. Most people never experience lasting wealth not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack consistency. They are pulled by noise, distracted by comparison, and drained by reaction. But you do not have to live that way. You can choose differently. You can wake up tomorrow and decide that your energy is too valuable to waste, that your focus is too important to scatter, that your time horizon is too long to be interrupted by short-term chaos. You can choose to build instead of broadcast, to accumulate instead of impress, to endure instead of rush. And here is the truth that changes everything. If you consistently apply even half of what we discussed, over 5, 10, 15 years, your life will look radically different from today. Not because of luck, not because of hype, but because structure compounds. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, calm under pressure, financially stable, respected in your field, unshaken by trends, not desperate for validation. That version of you is not created by dramatic transformation. It is built by quiet decisions repeated thousands of times, every time you pause before reacting, every time you invest instead of overspend, every time you stay committed instead of switching direction, every time you protect your name. You're casting a vote for that future. And there will be moments when impatience tries to return, when comparison creeps in, when noise feels overwhelming. Remember this: noise is temporary. Structure is permanent. Excitement fades, reputation remains, attention disappears, discipline compounds. You do not need to win loudly, you need to win steadily. You do not need everyone to understand your path. You need to stay aligned with it. And maybe the most powerful shift is this: you stop seeing wealth as something to chase. You start seeing it as something to build, brick by brick, habit by habit, year by year. Calm people build strong lives. Reactive people build fragile ones. Choose strength, choose stability, choose the long game. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something settle inside you while listening, Don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone you care about, someone who is overwhelmed, distracted, or caught in the noise. Sometimes a single shift in perspective can redirect an entire decade. And if you're ready to move differently from today forward, start small. Protect 1 hour tomorrow morning. Delay one impulsive decision. Cut one unnecessary distraction. Small acts, repeated consistently, will reshape your future. Ignore the noise. Protect your energy. Build quietly, grow patiently, and let time reward your discipline. Your empire does not need to be loud. It needs to be lasting.